Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Today we will share with you our market outlook on the IT spendings in the German manufacturing industry 2020 to 2024. Much is actually currently going on, such as ongoing uncertainties around the Brexit, because there are still many uncertainties in the design of the contracts. There is the challenge of a weakened global economy, and since very recently the coronavirus, where we don't know yet how much this will in the end impact economies globally, and in particular the German manufacturing industry. But we do expect an overall negative impact on overall IT spendings with lower growth rates in the very short term in many manufacturing subsectors. Today, we will give a glimpse of a market outlook and how we see it as of today. And for the purpose of this webinar, we will look in more detail into the 5 subsectors of the manufacturing industries that account for almost 80% of IT spendings in the German manufacturing industry. And IT spendings for us is the total amount of IT expenditures. So, for example, software, IT services and hardware, etc. And the subsectors we will look at in this webinar are the automotive sector, the mechanical and electrical engineering sector, as well as the chemical and pharmaceutical sector. So what you will hear in the next couple of minutes for each of those sectors are: what is the current economic situation? What are the major challenges in this sector? What are the CXO priorities? What are the selected areas of IT investments? And actually, in my comments on selected areas of IT investment, I will focus mainly on digital technologies. But certainly acknowledging that there are, of course, also investments related to modernizing IT landscapes, so IT infrastructures and applications, or investments related to migrating to the cloud, etc. And we will also look at the short-term and long-term growth rates of IT spendings. And here I will share some of our recently updated and published figures. And while in this webinar I will share growth rates of total IT expenditures, I just wanted to mention that we can provide a much more detailed view on market figures. So what you will see presented here is just a very brief snapshot on what we can provide. And the way we typically provide our customers with market research is our SITC research platform, where we publish market figures, vendor profiles, and market reports. But without further ado, what is our market outlook for the automotive industry in Germany? Partially decreasing production volumes for passenger cars is certainly a major challenge for the automotive industry. Another major challenge is, of course, a shift from the traditional combustion engine to the electric motor, and which will impact the entire industry structure. Significant investments in future technologies related to autonomous driving also relates, and which also relates to connected cars or new mobility concepts. And there are, of course, heavy burdens from the diesel affair. And these challenges result in the one and only CXO priority, basically, for many automotive OEMs and their suppliers, which is the need to reduce costs and increase profitability. So given these challenges and priorities, what are some of the major selected IT investment areas in an industry that accounts for 29% of IT expenditures in the manufacturing industries? And all the major automotive OEMs and Tier 1 suppliers invest substantially in autonomous, connected and electric cars. This actually also generates IT-related spendings, such as in the fields of embedded in-car software development or the optimization of front-end customer experience, such as infotainment or driver assistance systems. Also, smart and intelligent driver cockpits, or the development of digital platforms to integrate business models that embrace other players in the ecosystems in order to offer drivers recommendations on where to find restaurants, shops, petrol stations, etc. Further topics are data management, data consolidation, and data analytics. And an initiative which we have seen here last year was, for example, Daimler launching its Xtolo platform based on Microsoft Azure. Besides these investment areas, there is, of course, still also potential to further increase productivity of factory operations. Investments range from migrating to the cloud in order to increase transparency in a global production and supply chain network, and where we have seen large announcements such as from VW to move to the AWS cloud for its global network production cloud. Other investments relate to increasing transparency of local operations through MES implementations. And topics will also relate to the further automation of operations on the shop floor and in the warehouses, such as implementing industrial robots, autonomous transportation vehicles, or digital and predictive inline quality control. But again, despite these potential areas of IT investments, increasing profitability is a major challenge for the automotive OEMs and the major tier 1 suppliers, who at the same time have to stem significant investments in future technologies and potentially carry quite some heavy burdens from the diesel affair. There are OEMs such as VW, for example, who have a clear focus on increasing productivity of shop floor operation and has in fact a lesser priority on initiatives that do not have a clear ROI and not delivering immediate productivity gains. We therefore expect quite some cost-saving initiatives at OEMs such as Daimler, who recently announced to downsize workforce and to de-invest in loss-making parts of the company. This will also impact the automotive suppliers, and we therefore expect quite a few tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers to disappear in the coming years, also impacting their own suppliers, for example, in the fields of mechanical engineering. And this will, of course, also impact IT spendings accordingly. And in the short term, we actually see the automotive industry being the most impacted industry in manufacturing. And we see many automotive OEMs and their suppliers to cut back projects, given challenging market environments and economic situations. In the longer term, however, we see an above average market growth for automotive again, driven by the significant and ongoing investments in autonomous and connected cars that also result in substantial IT-related investments, as well as investments related to modernizing legacy IT landscapes. And what is our market outlook for mechanical engineering in Germany? 2019 actually was an economically gloomy year for the mechanical engineering industry in Germany. Order entry declined by 9% compared to 2018, according to the VDMA. In particular, international trade disputes, weaker demand in the major export regions, US and China, the Brexit, as well as the structural changes in the automotive industry led to uncertainties and a reluctance to invest. And this has impacted the order books of the mechanical engineering industry in 2019 and will actually continue to impact 2020. Currently, still many manufacturers benefit from order backlogs, as production cycles for orders are very often long-term cycles. But the more this backlog is processed, the more tight the situation will get. And CXO priorities, what are the resulting CXO priorities? From our point of view, the major two CXO priorities in the mechanical engineering industries are to maintain and to increase order entry levels, of course, and to fill the pipelines. And also, increasing global competitiveness is certainly a top priority on the CXO agendas. I've spoken to quite a number of mechanical engineering companies recently, and in fact, on the agenda of most of them is the evaluation of new data-driven services and business models in order to generate new revenue streams. And in an industry that has a high share of service, maintenance, and field support, increasing the efficiency of service support and to reduce warranty costs is another major area of investment, such as the implementation of remote support solutions for field service workers. We also see initiatives that relate to increasing efficiency of custom product development and engineering cycles. And initiatives relate to increasing efficiency of customer front-end processes, including investments in applications such as CRM, CPQ, B2B commerce, and etc. But given the shrinking order backlogs and the existing economic uncertainties, there is a certain reluctance to invest in IT initiatives. And we expect that in the course of 2020, we will see some adjustments of planned IT investments, and in particular those that can be more easily postponed. And in the very short term, we expect that IT spending growth will therefore be under average compared to the IT spendings in the overall manufacturing industry. Also because this sector is characterized by a high share of small and medium-sized businesses, as well as family-owned businesses, which tend to show a more reluctant approach to investments compared to large multinational corporations, for example. But we also believe that this challenging situation will give more room to manufacturers to think about how they can pursue in challenging times and how they can potentially benefit from utilizing new digital technologies. For example, new data-driven value-added services and business models in order to generate new revenue streams and to maintain a sustainable, long-term, and a global competitive advantage. For the long term, we expect again an above average growth rate of IT spendings due to the general backlog demand for IT investments in modernizing IT landscapes. And what is our market outlook for the electrical engineering industry in Germany? Revenues in the electrical engineering sector declined slightly, according to the German ZVEI, in 2019. But expectations for 2020 are positive again. The electrical engineering sector will in particular benefit from investments of companies in technologies that enable, for example, more efficient energy consumption and to reduce CO2 emissions, as well as the growing relevance of electric drives for cars. Moreover, this sector will benefit from investments in 5G infrastructure and the related electrical components. An example is network supplier Ericsson, who has helped Daimler with putting in place the world's first 5G mobile network for automobile production in its factory 56 in the German plant in Sindelfingen. Besides this, the electrical engineering sector is basically challenged with a global competition and a resulting price pressure, and it is faced with particular short technology innovation cycles. Besides IT topics related to legacy transformation, so for example, cloud migration, for this sector, we expect in particular investments that relate to further increase efficiency of manufacturing operations, for example, through further automation. And we see investments related to further reduce time to market as innovation cycles are fast. What we see here are initiatives such as integrating the various engineering domains and implementing model-based system engineering concepts. And given the fast technology cycles, increasing agility and flexibility is most obvious on many CXOs' priority list. Having said that, some of the IT investment areas relate to the integration of the various engineering domains to help speed up time to market for product innovations. Investments relate to the implementation of appropriate PLM solutions or innovation platforms. Another area of investment in the production operations domain is the automation of inline quality assurance processes, for example, leveraging IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and edge computing. And automation generally plays a major role in, for example, automation of shop floor and warehouse operations. In the very short term, this sector is less impacted by the current market conditions than compared to the automotive and mechanical engineering segment, for example, given the more positive outlook in the short term for this industry sector. And also in the longer term, we expect a slightly above market average growth in terms of IT spendings in order to ensure global competitiveness by leveraging new digital technologies. And what is our market outlook for the chemical industry in Germany? Production output of the chemical industry declined by -4% in 2019 2019, driven in particular by a major decline of production output for the automotive industry. And for 2020, given the still existing economic uncertainties that have negative effects on investments, the German Chemical Industry Association expects production growth in Germany in 2020 likely to be moderate at the very best. Nevertheless, investments of the chemical industry in assets, production sites, and plants in Germany, as well as in R&D, will continue to grow, driven by the pressure which results from global competition, changing and more complex customer demands, as well as requirements resulting from reducing CO2 and sustainability goals, among others, reflected among others in circular economy concepts. Also, opportunities arise, for example, from the increasing relevance of electric cars. An example here is the chemical giant BASF, who has announced plans to invest in the modernization of one of its plants in Germany to produce so-called cathodes, which are needed for producing battery cells that are installed in electric cars. And CXO priorities relate to increasing efficiency of operations to remain globally competitive on prices. Another CXO priority is meeting compliance requirements and ensuring the safety and security of plant operations, and ensuring an efficient energy management and reducing energy consumption is a major topic. We therefore expect that major areas of IT investments in the chemical sector relate to modernizing legacy IT landscapes, as well as increasing efficiency of operations by increasing transparency of shop floor operations, as well as safety and reliability of operations. And asset performance management solutions to increase the overall equipment effectiveness of heavy and cost-intense assets, and to minimize downtime of costly plant operations. Growth rates of IT spendings are very much the same as the manufacturing average. However, in the longer term, we expect lower growth rates for the chemical industry than compared to the industry which we have looked at before. And what is our market outlook for the pharmaceutical industry in Germany? Pharmaceutical companies are among the ones having performed quite well in 2019, driven by a high global demand of medicine. For Germany, the Association of Research-Based Pharmaceutical Companies assumes that more than 30 drugs with new active ingredients will be introduced in Germany in 2020. Expectations for 2020, therefore, will continue to be good. Nevertheless, the development of new pharmaceuticals is very expensive, time-consuming due to required clinical trials prior to agency approvals, and in particular risky if new drugs don't get approval from drug agencies. CXO priorities therefore relate to building up and maintaining an efficient R&D pipeline. Speed up time to market for new drugs is another CXO priorities, and meeting compliance requirements along the entire product life cycle from drug development to production to packaging and to distribution. Accordingly, IT investments will therefore often relate to increasing efficiency of drug development processes. For example, in 2019, Bayer has joined the so-called Life Science Cloud Coalition, a joint initiative of Accenture and Oracle to bring together pharmaceutical OEMs and to enable pre-competitive collaboration in order to speed up the clinical drug development process. Accenture supports Bayer in the implementation of the Accenture Engine Clinical Platform to simplify and accelerate drug development processes. Using cloud-based Oracle technology, the platform solution maps internal and external clinical data into a single data management platform. That was just an example. And of course, there will be ongoing investments related to securing supply chains to ensure patient safety, to meet compliance requirements, and to prevent counterfeits, leveraging cloud-based tracking and tracing solutions, including IoT, GPS, RFID, etc. It will also be key to speed up distribution time to market by better predicting market and customer needs, leveraging big data analytics and artificial intelligence, etc. Given the good outlook for 2020, the pharmaceutical industry is also in a good position to continue ongoing and planned IT initiatives. In the short term, we therefore expect a growth of IT investments that is above the market average in manufacturing. In the longer term, however, it will be industries such as automotive, mechanical and electrical engineering that we see driving growth of IT spendings. As I mentioned to you at the beginning of this webinar, what you saw in this webinar is just a very brief snapshot on what we can provide. Feel free to come to visit our comprehensive market research platform, SITSI, to find out what kind of topics we cover and what kind of information we can provide. And here are just some examples of qualitative reports related to the topic of today's webinar, which our subscription customers can download from sitsi.com. My name is Stefanie Naujoks. I am Research Director Manufacturing and Technology and happy to answer your questions via email. Thank you for listening in.